Hello and welcome to Driving with Todd, and I'm Todd. In 1970, the Velvet Underground released their fourth album. That album was called Loaded. Now, John Cale had left the group prior to the release of the third Velvet Underground album. He was replaced by a new bass player who also played keyboards and sang by the name of Doug Yule. Now on the Loaded album, we had Lou Reed, rhythm guitar, vocals, Doug Yule, as I mentioned, Sterling Morris on rhythm and lead guitar, and Maureen Tucker on drums. So Maureen, Sterling, and Lou were original members of the Velvet Underground. Prior to the release of the album Loaded, Lou Reed left the group. He went off to do a solo career. Soon after Loaded came out, Maureen Tucker and Sterling Morris also left the group, leaving Doug Yule alone in Velvet Underground. There was a fifth Velvet Underground album, but because there was no original members in that group, it's considered that Loaded is really kind of the last Velvet Underground album. Now, Loaded was really a good album, but it was so different than the previous three Velvet Underground albums. In the previous Velvet Underground albums, they were underground. I mean, they were very much doing things that wasn't traditional rock and roll or something that you could play on top 40. I mean, it was very, very unique sounds. With Loaded, they wanted to get a top 40 hit. So this one was more of a pop album. And it's not that it's a bad album. It's a fantastic album. I mean, it is really a great album. It's just so different from the other underground albums, the other Velvet Underground albums. I mean, this has some really great tracks on it. Rock and Roll's on there. Great track. New Age, another really great track. And the sweet track of this whole album is Sweet Jane. Now, Sweet Jane is a Lou Reed composition. He plays guitar, he sings, and it was to be a over 4-minute song. For some odd reason, they edited the track down, took the bridge out of it, and took it down to about 3 minutes and 40 seconds for the album. Well, Lou Reed didn't know they were going to do that, and when he heard it, he was a little upset that they took the bridge out. So when he played it live, not the band playing it live, but when he played it live as a solo artist, he would put the bridge back in, especially when he did it with an acoustic guitar. Later on, when he started to do more rock and roll live, he would take the bridge out, only because it made the song sound cleaner to him. So, with that, I thought it'd be really kind of cool to hear that long version of Sweet Jane, which was released later on different compilation albums and a special version of the album Loaded. So, this is Sweet Jane by the Velvet Underground.
Standing on the corner, suitcase in my hand, Jack's in his corset, Jane is in her vest, and me, I'm in a rock and roll band. Huh. Riding a Studs Bearcat Jim. You know, those were different times. All the poets, they studied rules of verse, and those ladies, they rolled their eyes. Sweet Jane, oh, Sweet Jane, oh, Sweet Jane. I'll tell you something, Jack, he is a banker, and Jane, she is a clerk. And both of them save their monies. And when they come home from work, sitting down by the fire, the radio does play the classical music there, Jim. The march of the wooden soldiers, all you protesters, you can hear Jack say,
Okay. Wow. I mean, I love this song. This song is so fantastic. I mean, when I first heard this album and this song came on, it was like, wow, that is really something. What's so cool about it is that rhythm guitar and the bass, and they're playing the same thing, that doon 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 doon, and it just goes throughout the whole song. It's the same rhythm pattern throughout the whole song, but it sounds so cool. The other thing that's great about this is Lou Reed's vocals. I mean, the guy, I don't know if I can say this or not, and I'll probably get blasted for it, but he can't sing. I mean, the guy really can't sing, but his voice is so cool that it draws you in, and you gotta listen to it because it's just so bad. I mean, I don't mean that in a negative way. I do not mean that in a negative way, because it was that way from the first album to White Light, White Heat, to the third album, and to Loaded, and even into his solo career. But he has this way of writing a song and make it so at such a level that you understand it, and you can listen to him and go, boy, I know what you're saying. I know what you're feeling. I can feel it in your voice. I mean, he has a very unique style of singing, and it's so different than anybody else. I mean, the closest thing you could probably compare it to, and they're not the same, but is Bob Dylan. I mean, Bob Dylan's that same way. He's got this very unique voice that's not really a singing voice, but he writes songs that fits how he sings, and he can portray a song just so well, and it just draws you right in. Lou Reed does that exact same thing. I mean, you take a look at the songs. I mean, Walk on the Wild Side. I mean, he kind of talks through the whole song. I mean, it's just wild, but it is awesome. I just love Lou Reed. I've been a huge fan from the first time I bought a Velvet Underground album, which was White Light, White Heat, through today. I mean, I just think the guy was a master talent. So I want to go back in and let's get this thing going again and hear where we go.
Some people, they like to go out dancing, and other people say have to work. Just watch me now. And there's even some evil mothers, well, they're gonna tell you that everything is just dirt. You know that women never really feign, and that villains always blink their eyes. Ooh. And that, children are the only ones who blush, and that life is just to die. But anyone with a head or heart, oh, they wouldn't turn around bragging. Anyone with a head or heart, oh, they wouldn't turn around and hate. Sweet Jane. Wine and roses seem to whisper to her when he smiles. Heavenly wine and roses seem to whisper to her head when she smiles. La 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 la.
So that was the piece they cut out, the Wine and Roses part. That was the bridge that they cut out of the original mixing of the album and mixing of the album track Sweet Jane for the album and for the single that was released from the album. And like I said, they took this version, which is the longer version that had the bridge in it, and then released it on several other Velvet Underground compilations, and a remaster of the Loaded album. So that's what they cut. I'm always used to listening to the shorter version without the bridge. So when I hear the bridge, it's like, wow, that's different. That's really different. But I like it, and I mean, it just fits into the song. So let's go back and see if we hit that bridge again.
Wine and roses seem to whisper when he smiled. Heavenly wine and roses seem to whisper to her head when she smiled. La 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 la. 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 Sweet Jane, sweet Jane, sweet Jane, sweet Jane, sweet Jane, sweet
Yeah, and then the fade out is kind of cool, where they're going sweet Jane, sweet Jane. They kind of put a keyboard in there or a synthesizer, one of the two, to take out the song. But wow, I mean, it is just a dynamite song. I just love the repetitive guitar that they have in there, and then the bass follows that competitive guitar, the guitar throughout the song, and then it changes up when they get into the Wine and Roses part, and then it doesn't come back to the regular song until throughout the rest of the song. I mean, it doesn't have that repetitive rhythm guitar and bass, but I love it. It's a great song. Now, a group that was really failing in I think it was 1973 was Mott the Hoople, and they were going to break up, and David Bowie kind of took them under their wings, wrote a song, All the Young Dudes, for them, which was major turnaround for the group. But on the album, All the Young Dudes, they do a cover of Sweet Jane, which is also just dynamite. But because the song is so good, I don't think you could do a bad version of this song. It is just a classic, and it is great. So this is the Velvet Underground doing Loaded. Lou Reed, not, probably this is just a great Lou Reed song. He's just a classic rock and roller, and they call him the rock and roll animal, and he is and was dynamite. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button. If you have any comments about Sweet Jane by the Velvet Underground, put in the comments below. That'd be really, really cool. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. Go over here, ring that bell, and you'll get updates to my latest videos. I love this song. It is just, like I said, when I heard Loaded for the first time, this song just stuck out. It was like, wow, this is going to be a classic, and it is a classic. So I hope it put a smile on your face, and peace out, baby.